If you could wish for anything you ever wanted, what would it be? Wealth, health, or even love? A goddess asks a boy named Hashimiya Eiji what he wishes for. At the hospital, a girl named Hashimiya Sena calls his attention and asks what's wrong. He apologizes for spacing out, then prepares to go home, 6 more months to keep quiet. He ominously tells himself. The next day, Eiji's teacher gives a lecture on how the world was nearly destroyed in the Great Destruction 10 years ago. During the same period over which this catastrophe took place, the world also saw the appearance of orders. An order is capable of turning one's wish into great power. Currently, there are around 2,000 orders worldwide. As a result, it is hypothesized that the tragedy was born out of one's wish to end the world. Suddenly Eiji stands up in the middle of class and excuses himself as he feels ill. His classmates have already seen this coming and laugh. They then gossip in the class group chat about how Eiji rarely attends class. The boy, on the other hand, believes his reasons are valid. He really did feel ill. Why? It's because the Great Destruction 10 years ago was caused by his very own wish. This means that he's an order. And orders are despised in society since they're perceived to be evil, frightening beings. There are even hate rallies against them. What more against one that caused an apocalyptic event? He goes home to a woman floating in his bedroom, her name's Daisy, and seeing her there annoys him for some reason. It's been 10 years since he first met her. She's a being who can turn wishes into supernatural power. When he asks if she just created more orders, she replies that it's her job. Daisy asks him why he still hasn't used his power after so long. It appears our MC can destroy the world, although he's not willing to try again. Looking at a picture of his little sister, it shows something may have happened to her because of his wish. In an attempt to ease his guilt, the goddess reassures him that he technically didn't wish for world destruction all those years ago. This doesn't make Eiji feel any better. But with that, she vanishes. This conversation leaves him feeling confused. Wasn't world destruction what he wished for that day 10 years ago? Inspired by his favorite cartoon character, the evil ranger's conscience still haunts him. So basically, the world fell apart because a child copied a villain. He then pays Sena another visit at the hospital, but ends up falling asleep by her bed. His consciousness returns when she gently wakes him up and asks for fun, school life stories, to keep her from worrying. He flaunts that he's having fun and even shares his imaginary girlfriends. Sadly, even she doesn't fall for it, but she's looking forward to living her own student life, just as the siblings share an emotional moment. Evil Ranger comes up on the TV. Eiji cringes at the sight and changes the channel. Out of nowhere, his little sister asks, "Are you in order?" This startles him. He gets all defensive. Making her serious expression turns into a smile. What she meant to ask was that if he were in order, what would he wish for? His answer is for her to recover, so she can leave the hospital. The next day at school, a pretty transfer student named Kurenai Rin is introduced to the class. Her looks attract everyone's attention, including Eiji's. The school day ends just like any other and he goes home. When a voice calls out to him, it's Rin. She asks for a favor and all sorts of dirty thoughts enter his mind. Is it time to get some action? Nope, she moved into the nearby unit, but her key broke. She doesn't have her phone with her, so she asks if he can call her a locksmith, as he turns around to help her out. She suddenly zaps him with a taser. He blacks out and drops. When Eiji wakes up, his hands are tied with rope. The supposed cutie reintroduces herself as Kurenai Rin, an assassin sent to eliminate him. This is revenge for being the order who destroyed the world. 10 years ago, her beloved parents gruesomely perished in a fire at the time, and she's finally been led to the perpetrator. He's obviously terrified and worried about his safety. An eye-like symbol glows on Eiji's outstretched hand. The sword she was previously holding is now lodged halfway in her midsection. Out of fear and confusion, AG flees from the apartment. After some time, he finds a shrine to hide in and breaks down in a state of panic. His thoughts are a mess, since his powers have caused harm to another person again. With time running out, he feels a deathly presence behind him. A helicopter flies high in the skies above. In it is a gaudily dressed man named Lieutenant Frank. He laments Rin's insubordination to orders since she tried to harm the target of their recon mission. The news of Rin's failure travels quickly to an exclusive boardroom with powerful figures. The hiding AG pulls out his phone to call Senna on the phone. Hearing her voice calms him down and he promises to drop by within the day to say, "Hi, maybe he'll have his wounds checked out too." When he arrives at the hospital, it's suspiciously empty. Next, the elevator doors open to reveal military personnel pointing their guns at him. The two enter the elevator with Rin, revealing that she's taken Senna as hostage. It's the chink in his armor of invincibility. To prove her seriousness, Rin stabs Senna's shoulder. The poor girl loses too much blood and falls unconscious. Two soldiers are left behind to end AG's life. They're a bit hesitant since he's just a kid, but it's too late. Now, the Order loses himself in rage and all we hear are shrieks of horror. AG wakes up in the basement, where Daisy is calling for his attention. She reassures him that his power didn't spiral out of control. The soldiers are injured, but it's nothing lethal. Daisy shares that Rin is an Order. 2. 10 years ago, Kurenai Rin lost her parents in a fire and she suffered lethal burns as well. As she lay on the verge of death, she wished for her own regeneration. That's why she's now immortal. When asked why she reappeared before AG, she explains that she's looking forward to him using his powers. It would be a shame to forget the wish he made back then. It appears he did just that, although we suspect that supernatural forces are keeping him from recalling it. Putting this matter aside, he contemplates saving Senna first. To achieve this, Daisy takes his left hand and limits his power output to a 10,000th of its potential. This should allow him to safely use his powers without losing control. Like 10 years ago, AG doesn't want to use his powers anymore, but he'll do anything to save his sister. He emerges in an underground parking lot where he is spotted by a unit of soldiers. The lights flicker as AG emits a sinister aura. AG finally makes it to the main house where Rin is keeping Senna captive. An entire platoon of skilled gunmen are ready to fire. For some reason, AG recalls why he loved the show Evil Ranger so much as a kid. The character's goal was to bring peace through world domination. It was a method often criticized by others, but the means justify the ends. He finally remembers his wish from back then. It was to rule the world. Rin smugly gives the gunners the green light. Bullets rain down like a hellstorm. After a while, she signals the gunners to stop as she wants his life to end by her blade. Shockingly, AG comes out unscathed. Her body is also moving on its own to heal Senna's injury. It turns out that AG's power as an Order is to bend everything according to his will. Anything within his domain, whether people or objects, is his to control and manipulate. Rin fires her gun in a desperate bid to defeat him, but her actions are futile. AG's dominance transcends all laws, even those of physics. He never wanted to use this power, but now that she's forced his hand, she'll be the first person to submit to his will and definitely not the last. Subscribe for part 2. Thanks for watching.